Thank you for tuning in to this It's a Wrap exclusive featuring Sharon Neumbo, who made headlines after having been arrested for allegedly stealing $170,000 from a fishing company that she was on the board on. She shares what transpired when she was arrested.
You know, obviously my first reaction was like, okay, what's going on here? And a gentleman walks up to me, pulls out his police card, and he says, I am Inspector so-and-so, and I'm here in respect of a case that was made against your fraud by Jacqueline Antiart, and read me my rights, and therefore, do you understand? I said, yes, I understood. But I thought it was a joke because, like I said, the money had been already repaid back to the company, and he put me under arrest, and he said, well, let's go. And that was that. And so I went in to get my belongings back, and we got into the car, and while I was in the car, luckily I called my legal reps and some family members to just let them know what's going on. And you know, my daughter was at preschool, and somebody had to arrange to pick her up. All these things, you know, needed to be done. And yeah, so I arrived at the police station at about 11. And then they did the booking. There's a booking system. They book you, and then after the booking, just before they could take me to the holding cell, the legal team arrived. And we went into consultation, and they kept asking, but charge her so we can take her so she can go and have a bail hearing, because it's Friday. Because if you don't charge her, then she stays till Monday, and we've got proof of payment. In fact, I said to the officer, I've got proof of payment that I've paid this. And he says to me, but why did you pay it? And I asked him, but what do you mean, why did I pay it? I had always intended to pay it back. It was never intended to be a permanent arrangement, you know? But anyway, and so that for me, that was a little bit strange initially. I was like, okay. And then he sort of tapped me on the shoulder and he says to me, I'll be back to charge you. And he left, you know? And the other officer says to me, don't be so scared. You look like you're scared. You're shaking. Don't be so scared. And I said, of course I'm scared. What do you mean? I'm, you know? But anyway, so yeah. And while I was consulting with the legal team, a call came in to the police station, and they said, that's enough. I've had enough consultation with the legal team now. I should be put into the holding cell. That's enough consultation. He'll come and charge me whenever he wants to come and charge me. And he then said, okay, 2 o'clock he'd be there, and arrangements were made with the prosecutor and the magistrate to arrange for bail and all of this, and he just never came. So he eventually came to charge me, coincidentally, at 5:30 when everybody's gone home. And I must say, I owe all of this to the team, both friends and family that were on the outside. They were fighting. Eventually, arrangements were made. They found a prosecutor and a magistrate willing to hear the bail hearing at 10 in the evening. So the prosecutor was informed, as the police officer was informed. He had obviously to go get me from the cell to bring me back, to bring me to court so that I can hear my charges and answer to them, I guess. And so suffice to say, they sat outside until 12 o'clock. The magistrate arrived, but the prosecutor never arrived, and the police officer also never arrived, or even came to the police office to come and fetch me. So at that point, I didn't know what was going on the outside because I had no contact with them. So I was on the inside. So I think I had reconciled to the fact that I would probably stay there until Monday, you know, and that was a scary thought. A scary thought. And so what is strange is when you're in a holding cell, it seems like the first question is, what have you done? Why are you in here? And I almost felt like it was sort of, it's a question that the inmates, if they're called inmates, you know, the trial awaiting ask to sort of try and suss you out as to how to deal with you and how bad are you really, you know, and all of this. So you ask the same question, and in the room where I was, 3 of them were there on charges of murder. So imagine one of them says, oh, she murdered her best friend. The other one murdered her husband, and somebody else murdered, I can't remember. And then there was a lady that was held for human trafficking. In fact, she was recently sentenced to 28 years. So at that point, I thought, I don't know if we're going to make it out of here alive. But survival instinct kicked in. I told myself, whatever happens, I can't show weakness, you know. So I tried for as long as I could until the lights go off, not to think about my daughter, because that was the most important part. If I thought about her, I probably would have cried, and that would have been the first sign of weakness. And you don't show weakness, I've been told. So yeah, and my family brought as much stuff as they could to make me comfortable. And Saturday morning came, and by Saturday morning, actually, I think it began to really sink in. I didn't have a great night, obviously. I didn't sleep, and all of this, and it's very noisy. The lighting is controlled, everything. It's and you know, the walls are grey, and it's a very dark environment. I think it's very traumatizing, actually, very, very traumatizing. It's but by the morning, I think just about 8:30-ish. And because you don't have time. That's also the other thing. You have no sense of time. You don't know what time it is. You don't know if you're sleeping at 7 or if you're sleeping at 11. You just have no sense of time in there. But in the morning, I woke up that morning, and I think I was just about to cry. And one of the ladies came, and she really reached out. And even the night before, she really helped to make me comfortable. You know, she said, "Okay, if you're going to spend the night, ask your family to bring you the following stuff." You know, and I was grateful. In fact, I went back to visit her a couple of times when I was released. But on Saturday morning again, I had reconciled to the fact that, okay, this is it. And then the legal representative was the only person allowed to come in, because apparently visitation is only on Sundays, 8 to 12. So she came in with a pen and a paper so I could make a list of what I needed to stay until until the Monday morning. And for that matter, the police reminded me that they've got 48 hours to charge. So technically, my 48 hours, so if you look at it from 11 Friday, then to 11 Monday, so it actually expires Tuesday at 11. So yeah, so Saturday, I gave this list to my family. I said, look, get me some sleeping pills, I'm not sleeping, and all of these things, and they got me an over-the-counter sleeping pill, and I went and I took a nap, and I was actually very agitated with them because I felt like they're not coming in time for the things I needed. I wanted to feel a bit more comfortable and all of these things, and eventually, somewhere around 5:30, the officer came, and it's a sound I'll never forget. You know, that key in these massive keys, and that sound of the key. And she came and she called my name, and I got up and I said yes, and she said to me, get your stuff, you're going home. You know, at that point, then I cried. I thought, I don't know what happened on a Saturday, you know. I only then later found out, I don't know what happened. I was granted bail.